Hey guys, how's it going? I am B Dogamus, and I am going to be talking about a game that I would like to call Death Road to Canada. So essentially what Death Road to Canada is it's a survival roguelike zombie apocalypse game where the zombie apocalypse has broken out, everything's gone to heck and back, and you as a player start out in Florida and you need to make your way to Canada because for some reason Canada is always the prime spot for not getting eaten alive by zombies. In this game, like I said, you start out in Florida and you have to hop in a car with you and one other person, and you need to traverse lots of different obstacles and looting places and all kinds of different scenarios that happen to you along the road. It's actually pretty interesting. You run into bandits, you run into other people that want to join your group. You have to make sure everyone's morale and everyone's skills are in tune for the long trip ahead. It's actually quite a micromanaging kind of game. So as I said before, there are plenty of scenarios that happen to you while you're on the death road. Such as, for example, you could have a bandit completely dressed in very makeshift armor, standing in the middle of the road, and you have the choice of what you can do. You can run them over, you can get out and try to reason with them, or you can just, I don't know, go around him. There's all kind. This game really lets you choose what you want to do on your journey, and really what you do will affect how long you survive, because you can die very easily in this game. Now, there are many different scenarios that you can find on the road, but there are also lots of different looting positions where you have to go in, kill some zombies, look for food, ammunition, medical supplies, all kinds of stuff that would help you along the way on the road. And you could also even find other survivals, maybe even a dog to add to your party. Wouldn't that just be lovely? Unfortunately for me, these looting locations are usually the downfall of the game for me because they're very linear. They're not very original. Now, there are some original spots that you'll run into every now and then. There's one spot where you can go to where you're in a graveyard and the Grim Reaper comes out with his scythe and he tries to kill you. But if you manage to kill the Grim Reaper, you get his scythe, and you manage to hold the scythe throughout the entire death road to Canada. It's actually pretty interesting. But those interesting locations are few and far between. You spend a lot of time just going into buildings, randomly killing a bunch of zombies with you and your AI partners, and you rarely find anything really that interesting. So these parts are really kind of a drag on to the game, in my opinion. And also, you have your own companions. You can find companions along the road, and you even start out with one at the beginning of the game. You can take control of any of your companions at any time in a looting position or on the road. And the AI is okay. I wouldn't say it's the best AI I've seen in a game like this. And you kind of need great AI for a game this companion oriented. But it got the job done. There are some moments where the person would attack the zombie, like not even close to any of us across the entire room, not being helpful at all. Sometimes they would just sit there and watch you get eaten by a zombie, which is not the greatest. But the AI works for the game, I would say. Now, one strength this game has is that it is very creative in the sense. You can have different situations where you're literally rolling on the floor laughing. You got special characters that you can find. You can find Jason from Friday the 13th. You can find El Diablo, the Mexican wrestler, to accompany you along the death road to Canada. It is actually, you have no idea what you're going to run into next. But the sad part about all this creativity is that after about the third time I played through a game, I started to notice that the same scenarios were popping up over and over again. And that's pretty sad because I saw the same thing over again. Like I just skipped over it. I didn't even read it at all because I knew exactly what it was. And also, some pretty interesting stuff can happen to your characters. For example, I was playing this one game where we were I had a full party of 4 people, and we were almost at the end of the death road, almost traversed throughout all of the hardships and heartaches and all that. And one of my characters had a toothache, so I had a choice to either rip out the tooth, get someone else to rip it out, or yell, "I used to be a dentist," then rip it out. Now, I, that is one of the pluses of this game. It's got all kinds of scenarios that play out like that. But, unfortunately, I chose wrong by yelling, "I am a dentist," then pulling out the tooth, and unfortunately, that survivor died of blood loss. So, some pretty interesting stuff can happen to you on this crazy journey to Canada. You start a game by starting in Florida and making your way to Canada. Now, if you die, you have to restart. Now, these games last a very long time. If you make it all the way to Canada, it lasts about an hour and 30 minutes to 2 hours. Now, there is a saving mechanic, but you can only do it while you're on the road, which is pretty unfortunate, but that's just how it is. Back to the creativity of this game, there are plenty of different weapons and methods of being able to kill zombies in this game. You got AK-47s, you got katana swords, you got leaf blowers to blow them back, you got all kinds of stuff to be able to expel of your foes. This game really does have some strengths, but it also has some cons that you can't ignore in a game like this. Now, the pixel graphics, I wouldn't say that's a con, but if you don't like that kind of stuff, you're not going to like it here. There's nothing really revolutionary. There were some interesting art techniques I saw, but there's nothing really spectacular. Now, the game definitely has some flaws, but Death Road to Canada is actually quite a fun time, I would say. Now, how I'm going to do the rating system is I'm going to take terms from Steam reviews, and I am going to pinpoint them onto Steam games that I am reviewing. So, for instance, Mixed, if you have Steam, is not great, but it's not bad either. It's a mix between positive and negative, alright? So with this rating scale, I believe I am going to give Death Road to Canada a very positive review. This game really did have me going for a couple hours. It was great for about 6 hours, but then the encounters started looping again, and it's just kind of messed it up for me, honestly. But it's still a fun game, a really fun game. You should go check it out. Alright, well, those are my thoughts on Death Road to Canada. Now, if you enjoyed the video, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And I believe I'm going to be doing these kind of videos more. I know this is the first time I'm doing it. This is just kind of what I want to try out. So if you like it, please remember to do all that stuff I've already mentioned before. And I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.